Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Series Astrology. Today, we're going to look at the full moon in Aries, which is happening on the 17th of October. And I'm recording this on the 16th, so it's only just tomorrow of October at 24 degrees of Aries. So, yes, before I start, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps me get this content out. And if you'd like a personal reading to see how this full moon is impacting your natal chart, yeah, all the details to my website is below. So yeah, let's have a look at this full moon in Aries. I mean, yeah, you can see here the moon at 24 degrees of Aries. And, you know, whenever we have a full moon, just to start with that phase of the lunar cycle, it's always going to be a full illumination from the sun, a heightening of emotions, of busyness. Sometimes it can be a little bit stressful around a full moon. And with it being in the sign of Aries, a fire sign, the first sign of the zodiac, it's cardinal and ruled by Mars. That sort of full moon vibe, I would say, is even more, heightened or stronger. You could almost say that it's on sort of steroids or running high on adrenaline. Because Aries, it doesn't really like to wait around. It's quite impulsive. It's quite fast. It acts on instincts, and it's really about moving energy quickly. Mars, it's like action, assertion, and from an evolutionary point of astrology, Aries is about developing courage. It's about being the initiator, the pioneer, and to lead in a way by example. So, like in that saying, do as children do as the parents do, not as they say. That's very much the vibe with Aries. Aries is about showing by action, really walking the talk in an active way. And so, yeah, developing courage and a sort of confidence in being yourself, being an individual, not really needing to please anybody else or wait around, but trusting that when the energy feels good and you feel like acting, just doing it. It's quite simple, really, in Aries. The challenges that can come up with Aries is, of course, that this can seem quite hasty. Sometimes it can be a stressful place with the moon in Aries, feeling that sort of frustration or like angst that something should be happening is not happening quick enough. I can feel myself speaking faster with that Aries energy, not really thinking before jumping is an Aries trait, which of course, can end up having to retrace your steps. So, it's trying with evolutionary astrology to aim for the highest manifestation of the energy that we're working with. So is there something that, you've been thinking that you should start? This could be a good place to just jump in there, see what happens, learn on the job, be bold, be brave. And yeah, just dive in and see how it goes. Aries is not a perfectionist. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just having a go. It's just having the experience of taking action, of moving on an instinct, really trusting that just by initiating. Sometimes Aries is associated with the lighting of the match, that sometimes, that will then result in a bigger fire being kindled. other times it's blown out and nothing comes of it. And Aries is used to not really investing too much in each attempt. It's more about just acting on that impulse, acting on that rising wave of energy without really invested expectation in what will come, what will be the result. Aries doesn't really think long term. And I mean, another challenge with Aries and the moon in Aries is not honoring that building sense of frustration or need to act, and then that leading to more and more frustration, and then agitation and irritation, and eventually, anger, and having a sort of a volcanic explosion. Think Mars. So I think this full moon is, it's a lot about catching ourselves early on. What do we feel like doing right now? Very much being in the moment, very much seeing where the energy is going and just going with it, not thinking about it, not considering others, not thinking about any future, what might happen down the road, but just acting quite early. And particularly because this is a balancing act between the sun in Libra, we're still in Libra season, and Aries. There can be a dynamic coming up of in relationships, Libra, or, some sort of diplomatic interactions, feeling a sense of my instinct is telling me this. I'm feeling like acting like that and honoring that, but also being able to communicate it and being in dialogue, I guess, with ourselves, with Libra and Aries together, of like, okay, this is what I feel like doing now. I feel like just jumping in there, see where it takes me, just going with the flow, going with the fire, and then Libra energy coming in and going, okay, is that going to hurt anybody else? Is it, appropriate time? And negotiating your way to being able to act on that instinct, which I think is really important. And as you can see here, we have Chiron in Aries only within 3 degrees of the moon. And the Chiron in Aries is an energy we have been working with for quite some years now. But in a way, towards now the ending degrees of Aries, this moon, this full moon, heightens this work that we've been doing on honoring our instincts, honoring our fire, our impulsiveness, our sometimes rashness, and having a sense of that's okay, as long as we're responsible with it and do no damage, we can act on just being ourselves. So, it feels like this full moon is really highlighting that longer Chiron journey. The ruler of this full moon is also in close aspect to this full moon and to Chiron at this time. So you can see here Mars is in Cancer. And Mars in Cancer is on a bit of a journey. It's going to retrograde and it's going to move forward again. And it's going to be in this area of Cancer for the next 6 months. So, and I feel like with this full moon, highlighting and being in a sort of friction relationship with this Mars, is that this full moon is heightening and shining a light on what we're kind of initiating a 6-month learning journey here with Mars in Cancer. So it might be, that with Mars in Cancer, which is quite sensitive and can get easily triggered, there's something that comes up, something that evokes frustration, irritation, anger, sort of protectiveness with the Cancer energy. and that we have to honor and catch and start to sort of care and nurture, I feel, with this Cancerian energy. There's a lot about self-care in this. The Aries feels, I just need to do this right now. And the Cancer energy and the Mars in Cancer energy at its best acts on that in a soothing, kind way and says, oh, I'm hearing that you really need to, go for a run right now, or write down how angry you feel in your journal right now. Okay, and the Cancerian Mars in energy, Mars in Cancer energy protects that space, holds it, holds the emotion, helps us stay with whatever is coming up for us. And particularly with the Chiron in the mix here, there is a healing potential. And because Mars in Cancer and Cancer energy particularly can stir up memories. Cancer remembers everything with the water sign, particularly from childhood with the Cancer energy as well. Could also be to do with mothering or mother energy with Cancer. But often Mars in Cancer will trigger sensitivities that we acquired in childhood where we might not have been cared for, where kindness might not have existed, and that now we have a chance through this re-triggering of old wounds to heal it and to be that kind, nurturing, mothering energy to ourselves. As this Mars makes its journey for the next 6 months, I feel like, there could be some deep healings, and it will be in contact and conversation with Chiron ongoingly throughout these 6 months. And really honoring how it's a power, but it's a quiet power to stand in and go, this is what I feel, and this is how I'm caring for myself in this situation, rather than blowing a fuse or escalating a row, or crumbling and feeling shame about this anger or this need that Mars in Cancer might have. And there's also an empowering aspect with this. Moon will move on to make a square to Pluto in the last degrees of Capricorn here at 29. So even the following days from the full moon, there is some deep vulnerability that might come up. But in Capricorn, and particularly at this last degree, at 29 degrees, I feel like, this Pluto has been on a journey in Capricorn of really learning to step into the wise elder role, to the adult set a part of us that can go, I'm hearing how you're feeling and how, this is really touching something deep and sensitive, perhaps from childhood, or, and holding that and being the mature, the sort of wise, the responsible elder that can come in from another part of us and honor those feelings from childhood that might need to be heard and be held and honored and acknowledged. So, with Pluto here at the last degree, we're sort of graduating from re-empowering ourselves really as mature adults, taking care of our own needs. And with Pluto, there is a deep empowerment with that, a self-empowerment, taking the Aries energy into consideration, where we can really stand bravely and courageously with Aries in that power and go, no, this is how I feel, and that's okay. And I just need some time now to process and to be with it, to not push it away, to protect it so that I feel safe. which is very important to the Cancerian energy. So yeah, I feel like this full moon could have a deeply healing and self-empowering outcome if we're able to step into holding our inner childs or children in a protective embrace, and really letting any release that comes from that Cancerian energy to flow through and to heal, um, and to move into very emotionally intelligent place where we then in turn can be modeling that Aries to other people, maybe communicating. I'm feeling really vulnerable at the moment. And this really reminds me of those times in the past, dot, dot, dot. And it's important for me to have some space now to sit with this and to grow from it. And this might just be a conversation with yourself, but it might also come up with other people. So yeah, wishing you a really bravely self-empowering and healing full moon in Aries. Looking forward to next time.